From the comfortable confines of self-isolation, I say welcome to the conversation. And I would like to welcome to our show someone who is really quite extraordinary because he brings a story that I care a lot about to today's conversation. And Norman Broderick, welcome. I want to quickly mention you're part of a film called Suppressed, The Fight to Vote. And this is a subject that I care desperately about because I feel the people's voice is being subverted in America, which is supposed to be sort of this shining light of the people's voice played out in the process. But first, welcome. And tell us a little bit of your story and how you voted absentee, I know, for quite some time.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate you having me on the show. I voted absentee for the last presidential election. And I'm sorry, for the last election, the governor election. And I was working out of state, and I put the address where I was residing at out of state as the address to send my absentee ballot, and my absentee ballot never came. And when I checked, it came here like a couple of days before the election was going to be over, before I had a chance to vote. When I got back to Georgia, and I called the office to ask, hey, where's my absentee ballot? I was told that they did receive it. Everything was correct in how I filled it out. I made no mistakes, but they failed in the process. They admittedly sent it to the wrong address. And what I discovered shortly after that is it happened to a lot of other people, not just me. It wasn't an isolated incident.
And the result of that was you were not permitted to vote. Isn't that right?
Right. Yeah, that's the first time I was not permitted to vote, and it was the worst feeling ever.
Of course, I've got to think that is infuriating, and your appeals or your only moves at that point were to petition to them, and they said it's just tough. I mean, it was just a screw up, and better luck next time type thing.
Exactly. Their words were, sorry, there's nothing we can do, and your vote won't be counted this year.
You're retired Army, and so I believe you were overseas quite a bit. Is that right? Or in other words, you were away and experienced with the absentee voting process.
That's correct. I'm retired, and I was overseas a lot. And in my last job, I was overseas and/or working out of state in South Carolina. And with this current position I'm in, I'm due to be out of state during this presidential election. I'll be out of country. So it's very disconcerting how the absentee process works in Georgia.
So what remedies have been suggested you? I mean, where have you sought some kind of counsel on this, and what remedies have been suggested along the way?
There has been no remedies suggested along the way. As a matter of fact, and ironically speaking, my wife and I received this Secure Your Vote document in the mail to vote absentee because of the coronavirus for this primary election. And I'm curious to see how that is going to work out.
This is an interesting conversation because, as I say, it speaks to the people's voice being suppressed. And we know about the way that people's voices are suppressed from gerrymandering the vote to suppression. I think having the vote on a Tuesday in itself is a kind of voter suppression. But then you get to these other avenues that are suggested as, look, we're offering all citizens a chance to vote. Here, they can vote absentee, they can vote by the mail, they can vote in all these other ways. So this is particular of interest because if they've, in essence, made this absentee voting something that doesn't work out and you can't have confidence in, it begins to skew your impression of the voting results.
I can register a weapon, I can purchase a weapon, I can buy a house, I can apply for a loan, I can do a lot of things, but one of the most difficult things to do in America, or at least in Georgia, is to vote absentee. And they screen the signatures, they gerrymander, they do exact name matching. They were purging folks. It's ridiculous.
But tell me about the film Suppression. They do feature your story, but other stories like yours, and then stories that also have to do with, of course, voter suppression that are not exactly like yours. Tell us about the film.
The film is a wonderful depiction of what's been going on here in Georgia. And I would hope that it's not a snapshot across the United States. But a lot of people were denied their right to vote with long lines, inadequate services, given misleading information, exact name matching, being told that they were not U.S. citizens. Some were purged for no reason at all. And just a lot of underhandedness were being done to the voters during this governor election.
You know, it's funny, not funny, laughably funny, but funny, eerie and weird funny, that in the midst of this healthcare crisis, in the midst of this crisis that is affecting everyone's ability and desire to go out, that it feels as though we've just come off the heels of the Wisconsin election, which, as you know, was sort of forced down voters' throats despite an attempt by the governor to sort of park it until June. I view it as an opportunity, perhaps, for a lot of what happened to you to happen to more and more Americans. It's sort of a political power grab. Do you see it that way?
It's exactly what it is. It's a political power grab. And I wouldn't be surprised if they use some of those tactics here, open up some polls, but yet tell you that you can't come out because we have to shelter in place. And or if you do, it's only 10 or more people. And of course, the lines are going to get frustrated and or the process is going to be skewed again. So I don't see, and I haven't seen Georgia do anything positively to fix these problems.
There were so many irregularities concerning the election results in Georgia. There's a suggestion of everything from hacking into the election systems to the sort of voter suppression that you're describing. So it's really now you feel like there's almost this Alice in Wonderland aspect to what might happen to the election in November.
Hopefully with your program and programs like yours, we'll get the voice out. We'll get the word out to people, and hopefully somebody will hear. And hopefully one of these people who are in charge will take the mantle and do something about it. If not, we'll keep speaking and we'll keep fighting.
I mean, it just seems unacceptable, frankly, that someone like yourself could say, hey, I didn't get this absentee ballot. And for them to say, you know what, send it to the wrong address. And there's no remedy suggested. Literally, no one you spoke with suggested it can be corrected in such and such a manner.
Exactly. I was very shocked. And being former military and being a leader, sometimes you'll get a no, but there's always a workaround. There's a way to get things done past the first obstacle. And when they told me I didn't have my chance, my vote would not be counted and I wouldn't have the chance to vote. And I was dumbfounded, like, okay, is there something else that we can do? Somebody we can talk to, a letter I can write, testimonial I can give, somewhere we can validate that what happened so that we can move forward. And all the answers were no. Your vote was it's not going to be counted, and that's the end to it.
Do you pick up the phone and call someone? Do you speak to someone at a polling place? Exactly with whom did you speak about this?
I spoke to the Georgia.
They referred you to some official agency or some person at an official agency.
It was a state agency official, and I called and I left a message, and they finally called me back, and we spoke. I had them on speakerphone, so me and my wife were in the room, and so I could have a witness there to hear exactly what they're telling me. And I've sent emails. I went on websites and large complaints, and it's just nothing.
It's astounding that you could just be so offhandedly told, hey, you know what? Tough luck, dude. I mean, better luck next time. And now next time's rolled around and there is a real anxiety. I think it's a legitimate one on your part about whether or not you'll be able to vote this time in an absentee way.
I just hope that this thing I don't think it's fixed, but I hope something is in place that can get people vote counted, within their expectations.
I think there has to be a movement. I think your story and this film may be part of such a movement. And as you say, if there's enough of a media groundswell and of a popular groundswell, there will be changes. But it's definitely it cuts to the heart of the republic. So Norman Roderick, I want to again mention the film. I mean, it's called Suppressed: The Fight to Vote, and it's at bravenewfilms.org/suppressed.
The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.